But what I have noticed is that every time I sort of like get emotional, I get this itch in my skin.
Mm.
And for example, on the day that me and him had this row, it was that bad. I had to get in freezing cold water to get rid of the itch.
Wow. Okay.
About 3 years ago, it started about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, about then. And at one point, I was on sort of like 4 times the amount of tablets that the doctors could give me because I was just taking them because I couldn't control it. But since then, doing a bit of work with myself, it's a lot better now. Whereas on days I forget to take a tablet,
Oh.
so I take about 3 a week, something like that, and that's from 4 a day.
Okay.
Um, but also, but what has come from that as well is sort of like the redness in my face. So when I'm stressed, I get like a rash, and this has been there about 12 months, 9 months, and so I get this redness in my face which don't seem to go.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there you go.
Okay. So we're gonna focus on right now more of like the redness and the itchiness. Okay. So notice how right now at this point she doesn't really know what she wants to work on, but she has a feeling that feels uncomfortable, and it's the redness and the itchiness. So at this point, what I'm thinking is, okay, we've got to narrow this down to a particular something so that we have a starting base, right, to work from. And I'm going to, at this point, you'll see, I'm going to allow her body to tell me what's going on instead of trying to figure out what's going on.
It just makes me feel irritable. That would,
Excellent. That makes sense. That makes sense with the scratching of the skin, right? Being irritated. Just want to scratch my skin out, right?
yeah,
Okay, so go ahead and out loud say, I do feel irritable.
I do feel irritable.
I feel irritable at the thought of fill in the blank. Okay, so here, now that we've got a feeling, and notice how the feeling kind of came up from out of nowhere, right? Came from inside of her. It came from subconscious because she was focusing on what her body was feeling like, and the body is a gateway into the subconscious mind. So now that we've got a feeling, I want to figure out what the thought is. Let me just actually go over this idea, this thing I came up with. The thought of this makes me feel, or the feeling of this, I feel blank at the thought of this. I just took some basic concept, and the conscious mind is a thinking mind, the subconscious mind is a feeling mind. And what these two minds want more than anything is just to be listened to. So that's why I came up with this statement and this phrase so that we could listen to both minds. And when both minds are listened to, they start going, oh, okay, great, I'm being respected. And then all of a sudden, it'll start to relax a little bit, and the two minds will actually start coming together. Something else that I want to say about this particular phrase, I feel blank at the thought of, or the thought of this makes me feel blank, is that this is a great way to figure out at any one moment in time exactly where the client is. It's a subtle statement, but it's a very important statement. You're going to find yourself, when you get stuck, go back to this phrase so you know where you are at this moment in time instead of trying to figure out where to go. If you know where the feeling and the thought is, you've got a feeling to release and a thought or a perception to change, right? So focus on ask them, the thought of this makes me feel, or the feeling of this makes me think.
I feel irritable at the thought of being controlled.
Nice, 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 nice. See, just look. Notice what happens when we start to listen to the body, right? Originally, we are just going to work on the itching and the drying skin or the redness, but the body's trying to tell us something. You don't like being controlled, right? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay. So it's that idea of being controlled. I'm just going to type something down. So I feel. Now that we have an issue to work on, and it's that idea of feeling irritable at the thought of being controlled, this is a perfect time to focus on an affirmation, because this affirmation will become a barometer of how successful you are at releasing the feelings that have to do with the thought of being controlled.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. Okay, so notice what we're doing now. First of all, we're having her close her eyes so that she can go inward. Because it's in an inward state that she'll have access to what's going on subconsciously. Notice how we compound that by having her focus inward inside of her body. Right? This now takes her away from the outside world to focusing on what's happening inside in her own world. Right? So that's key at this point because now again we're still looking. The body is the key, right? That's why I keep focusing on the body. The body is the key from where we are now to where we want to be. It's also the key from where we are now to the access the powers of the universe, right? If the body is more relaxed and at peace, the more intuition comes up, the more access to the universe that we have. Okay, and another thing I want to point out is that by having her focus inside of the body, she's looking inward for her power, the God self, if you will, the spirit self, if you will, the all-knowing self, if you will. She doesn't have to put her power into somebody else's ideas, thoughts, or opinions, right? So we're empowering the client to come back into themselves to find the answer. 4.
I feel full.
I feel calm at the thought of.
I feel calm at the thought of accepting life.
Okay, so notice that long pause that she's got going there. For you hypnotists out there, this should start to excite you. What are you seeing in this? You've got, I mean, she's focusing inside of the body, and notice again the long pause. She's deep inside of herself, right? The outside world's fading off into the distance. What do you have? You've got bypass of the critical faculty, which means you've got somebody in trance-like state, right? And later on, I got an email from her like a couple of days after this, and she talked about like the session was a little bit fuzzy, a little bit hazy, right? I don't remember much of it. Well, that's because she was in a trance state. So notice already, right? Again, within 7, 8, 10 minutes inside the sessions, without formally doing an induction, we've already got her inside of a quote unquote trance state. Now, for you non-hypnotists out there, this doesn't matter. You don't have to pay attention to it, but just understand that you're actually moving them into their own world for the answers. Even though I feel really scared.
Even though I feel really scared.
At the thought of this person looking down on the child.
The person looking down on this child.
I acknowledge this really scared feeling.
I acknowledge this really scared feeling.
So I can let it move through.
So I can let it move through.
Beautiful. Go to the outer part of the eyebrow and feel it. Just scan your body. Don't analyze. Don't judge. Just observe with curiosity. Feeling really scared at the thought of this person looking down on this child.
Feeling really scared at the thought of this person looking down.
You're doing great.
Really
beautiful. So notice how I like to stay on one feeling, one thought, one moment at a time. I know that there are other tapping modalities out there. There are other releasing modalities out there that once they start releasing a particular feeling, another thought, another feeling will come up, and it'll instantly start tapping on that, right? Without having fully cleared the original feeling in the first place. And here's my issue with that, is that if you start doing that, first of all, the original feeling hasn't been completely cleared, and you have another feeling, so instead of one feeling, you now have two feelings, and then now they're tapping on another feeling of thought. Now you have three feelings, and now it's starting to become overwhelming. It's overwhelming for the client, and it's overwhelming for you, because you got to try and keep in mind where the client is, and you got to come back and release all those other feelings and thoughts. I like to focus on one feeling, one thought at a time, because all the other thoughts and feelings that are coming up are piled on top of this original feeling. You release these feelings, this original feeling, and the other feelings and thoughts will go with it. Yes, and you try, beautiful, and you try putting it on me.
You try putting it on me.
But since I now release the feelings, and I have more clarity,
have more clarity.
And I understand I don't have to put meaning on your thoughts.
And I don't have to put meaning on your thoughts.
I can now let you go.
I can now let you go.
Because you just taught me a lesson.
Because you just taught me a lesson.
And I just learned I don't have to put meaning on your thoughts.
And I've just learned I don't have to put meaning on your thoughts.
For that, I can now forgive you and set you all free.
For that, I can now forgive you all and set you all free.
And by setting you free, I set myself free. There you go. You can smile.
Setting myself, by setting you free, I can set myself free.
Scan your body, top of your head through the tips of your toes. What's happening at this moment?
This feels really relaxed.
Beautiful. Focus on that relaxed feeling. We're going to go back to the affirmation, right? Your affirmation was, I feel calm at the thought of accepting my life.
I feel calm at the thought of accepting my life.
Now, physical sensation. Okay, so now that we've got this wonderful clearing, right? We got forgiveness for others. We got forgiveness for self. We even found the good in it. I'm going to test this just a little bit further. A lot of people would have stopped here. I'm going to test it further, especially now because I can start using my affirmation response technique. This is a perfect time because the affirmation response technique will do one of two things. It'll test, but it will also create momentum forward because we're filling that affirmation inside of the space that we've created from releasing the feelings and the old perceptions that were there. It's important now that we have to immediately fill this space in. Because the subconscious mind, love and familiarity, will want to go back to what's familiar. So let's fill this space in. And how we're going to do it is with the affirmation response. Now, let's say you're running out of time in your session, and you got pretty good clearing. You're using this affirmation response, and it's not completely clear. But guess what? You got good momentum. Okay, so you don't always have to do everything in one session. The next session, you'll go ahead and use the affirmation response technique to see what's still inside of their body. You'll use that as a way to, as a platform to jump into the feeling, find a thought, and often running you are. Maybe even to a memory, into a scene, situation, events, right? So this affirmation response is a great way to finish a session. It's also a great way to begin a session. Get up my back.
Even if the thought of something hurting up my back.
It's okay for me to feel good.
It's okay for me to feel good.
Even at the thought of someone looking down on me.
Even at the thought of somebody looking down on me.
It's okay for me to feel good.
It's okay for me to feel good.
I'm proving it right now.
Proving it right now.
I choose to feel calm at the thought of living my life.
I choose to feel calm at the thought of living my life.
Beautiful. Take another breath in. Allow that to fill every part of your body. Look, notice your cells feeling relaxed, calm, at peace. The more you can stay, more you can focus on this peaceful, relaxed feeling, the more intuition will come into your life. And behind that intuition will be inspired action to live the life that you want to live. So right now, make a decision that I'm going to focus more and more on feeling calmer, peaceful, and relaxed. But don't force it, okay? You get to this place by continuing to release the feelings inside your body that don't want to be there anymore. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Okay, and then eventually, with enough release, you're going to start You're going to be able to focus on being more calm, more peaceful, and then you're going to live your life out of true intuition. Right, to guide your life, to live the life you want to live. Whenever you're ready, open your eyes to that and take a breath. Good job, Julia.
Good job. And I just want to add, like I hadn't connected any of that together. It was just as it was coming. But when you know, at the end, that person looking down, of course, it all makes so much sense.
Yes, exactly, right? Say this, I now release that.
I now release that.
Because it doesn't have to mean anything.
Because it doesn't have to mean anything.
Because whatever they're thinking is their thoughts.
Whatever they're thinking, it's their thoughts.
And I allow myself to have my own thoughts.
And I allow myself to have my own thoughts. Hi, this is Julia. I've been working with Matt for the last few weeks now on the affirmation program. When I started working with Matt, I'd got a problem with my skin. I'd got a problem with my face and a very intense redness and soreness and dryness to the face. In my hands and my body, I would have an itch all over. The doctors told me that for the face, there was absolutely nothing that they could do. It's just one of those things, possibly hormonal. I seem to be allergic to everything: water, food, clothes, dust, you name it. I had the allergy towards it. I couldn't control it. At one point I was on 4 tablets that was prescribed by a doctor a day. Sometimes that wasn't enough. I'd have to top it up with something I could buy over the counter. A couple of weeks ago, I went down to 1 tablet a day. That's after working with Matt. And then the last week I took half a tablet all week, and that was just because I knew that I was going to be speaking to him. But the itchiness is completely gone. The thought behind it, it's almost like, what itch? I don't know what itch we're talking about. It's gone. And my skin, I would actually say 95 to 100. Well, if I'm really honest, I'd say it's 100% better. I would say it's gone back to how it was 5 years ago, before the problem ever started. All I can say is this worked. It worked for me. It's a very loving, very calm, relaxed sort of therapy.
Nice.
It really does work. I suggest go out there and try it. Thank you.